Well, welcome to today's webinar, Conquer Stress to Boost Team Performance. This will be a jam-packed 25-ish minute session, as we typically try to keep them short and sweet, but very jam-packed with stuff you can walk away with and put into practice today. Per usual, we're going to have the chat going, the Q&A going. Amber will be managing the Q&A. So if you have questions coming in, if I get behind, don't worry, she'll take care of those for you. And we are recording this so we can provide you with the video recording afterwards, and then also share with your team members, the other team members that want to check it out. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Jam-packed stuff. I'm looking forward to chatting with you today and getting some input from you. Actually, I have plenty of opportunities to hear from you, do some polls throughout the session. Those of you that I haven't met before, just a brief intro about myself. So my name's Adam Wong. I'm the founder of Rockstar Workforce. My wife and I started the business back in 2017. And that's a little picture of our family there. Our son, Hudson, 5-year-old in kindergarten, and our daughter, Harper, little mischievous smile she has there. And as far as educational background, went to school here in Arizona. So I went to PVCC and went to NAU. Also my master's from GCU. And I see I already have a hand raised. I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you can, go ahead and go in the chat. And if somebody could just say, yes, we can hear you. And because I do already have a hand, and I'm going to keep on rolling here. All right. And then as far as my career, it's been focused on people for quite a while, right? So we're focused in the leadership industry since 2011. And I'll talk a little bit about that history because it ties into today with the assessments that we're going to be providing. And then we started the business in 2017, as I mentioned. And at the core, what we do is we help people develop real world leadership skills through a lot of in-person cohort programs, working on real specific things they can put into action right away. All right, and let's keep on going here. If I can get at least one of you just to go on to chat and say, yep, we can hear you okay. Just to make sure we're all good. Cool. And it is weird that nobody's done it yet. Jean raising her hand. Chat is to say, oh, chat's to say, why does it do that? All right. So Amber will look into that. It looks like chat's disabled. That's so weird. You know, Zoom updates and whatnot. But Q&A, I can see your Q&A loud and clear. So it looks like Q&A will work just fine for us. All right, so let's keep on going. Sorry about the little disruption. Talking points. What are we going to cover in the next 25-ish minutes? Well, first off, why are we talking about stress? I'm going to start right there. And then I'm going to look at some symptoms and signs of workplace stress. Now, today is going to be slanted heavy towards workplace. But of course, this is a human skill, right? This is something that we want to be able to overcome personal life and professional life. So it's something you can tap into in your home life as well. And then how does it impact productivity and teams? It might impact it more than you think. So we're going to unveil some new statistics. We'll have a discussion around how it might be impacting you and your team members. And also, of course, some tools and strategies to alleviate stress. And that's what I'm most excited to talk about is what can you do to get ahead of that stress, and also with your team members, right? So how can you educate them on some of the stuff we'll cover today to make sure that they're taking care of themselves? And then lastly, a free bonus resource for you and your team. It's pretty rare that we have the opportunity to do this. So I actually want to dive right into it. So one of our biggest partners is TTI Success Insights. And in fact, I used to work there for several years. And when I worked there, I was on the team that created this exact tool. So I was on the creation team to help with this. And we created what's called the Workplace Stress Assessment. And I met with them about a month ago when they're looking to just get more data around stress. They do a little study. So they're like, hey, Adam, you and your team can offer complimentary stress assessments to anybody through the end of December. So all of you live here today, we're going to make sure that you get a link to take the stress assessment, but you can also provide that link to your team members. So you have till the end of December 31st to take it. And then in January, we're going to have a training session just for you folks that completed it. And that training session is going to help you uncover what the report's all about. So you're going to get a personalized report, but a 12-page report all about you, looking at the 7 factors of stress that the assessment covers, look at where your stress is coming from, how can you recover from some of these, how can you fix these, how can you mitigate these. So we'll do a training for you in January, and that exact date will be coming your way. So hang around to the end of the session of this webinar to get your link and get the kind of the next steps of how it's all going to work. All right. So now back to the webinar. Poll question number 1. So I want to start right off with getting you engaged, getting some feedback from you. So I'm going to ask you a question. Let me get that poll question launched here. And what that question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much stress, and this should be launching on the screen here in a second, there it is. How much stress do you currently feel in your workplace? So that could be you, that could be people around you, but how much are you feeling? 10 is a crazy amount of stress. 1 is, or 0 would be none at all. So as we see some of you responding here, it looks like we're heavy on the 6 and 7. Yep, like 6 is creeping up. Give that about 10 more seconds to let you guys respond. So wow, none lower than 5, further than 4. Okay, let's end this poll. And let's make sure I don't screw this up. You can actually see the results. Okay, here we go, share results. And all right, you should be seeing these results now. All right, so it looks like 44% of you are saying about a 6, 38 a 7, 13% an 8. So over 90% of the group here is saying 6 or higher, right? So that's kind of an easy way to summarize it. And not too surprising, right? Not too surprising. So we'll sit with that. And now let's talk about what that might look like, right? What are some of those symptoms and what that might be leading to in the work environment? All right, so let's keep on going here. So that gives us a good pulse to go off of. So let's start with, why are we talking about stress? And why should you care? Why should you give a damn? Why are we talking about this? Well, let's start with some statistics. We just got some, fake statistics right from you guys, but some real-time stats from you. And I have 6 more I want to share with you. And this research is done in the last 2 weeks, so it's very relevant, and it's from the American Psychological Association. And the first one blew me away. About 1 million Americans miss work each day because of stress. Okay, let's just sit with this for a second. So think of you, your team members. I don't know the sizes of all your companies, but I have to assume that there are some team members that you have, either your team or the team next to you, that could fall in this category. Are they so overwhelmed with stress that it leads them to miss work? And what does that do for them, their health, to you, your team, but also the organization, right? And how do we get around this? Over half of Americans are stressed during the day, right? Over half are stressed during the day. If you go back to the poll that we just did, the lowest number we had was a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. So I would say that stat is pretty true, just based off of your guys' input. Might even be a little bit higher. And then the third one, 90% of workers report feeling stressed at work. So these are the percentage of people that said they are feeling stressed. Then it's 94% of those are feeling it at work, right? So 94% of the people that are feeling stressed, they are feeling it at work. So that's a big percentage. How about this one? This one kind of caught me off guard. About 2/3 of US workers report they're ready to quit their job due to work-related stress. So maybe they don't have the ability to cope with it. Maybe they don't see an end in sight. So they're willing to try something else, go elsewhere, ready to quit their job. I personally do a little bit of coaching, one-on-one coaching, and over the past couple of years, or at least since COVID, I've had a few coaching clients that this was a topic of discussion because they were so stressed out, and a lot of it comes from this next quote or this next stat is the workload. A lot of it comes from workload and the high demands of the job, and they feel like they can never get ahead. They're adding on more hours, they're taking on more stress, more anxiety. That then goes home with them. They're irritable. If they have family, they're taking that in their family life, and it's not good for anybody, right? So we're trying to help people identify this, have real talk about it. It's not the funnest talk. It's not the funnest topic that we get to converse about, but it's an important one of the most important. And this last one, 34% report having trouble sleeping due to work-related issues. We're going to talk about sleeping just a little bit and how important it is to make sure you're getting a good amount of sleep and the right type of sleep to help with that stress. All right, let's talk about stress. Good stress, bad stress. Let's define stress. Nothing here that you probably don't already know. So we want to keep it pretty simple, straight to the point. Stress is described as a feeling, right? It's a feeling of being overwhelmed, worried, run down, irritable, And then we're gonna get into some symptoms too. You're like low energy, headaches, inability to concentrate, to focus, to make good decisions. But ultimately, it's a failing. And how does it start? Well, it often starts from just overload, uh, certain things, personal life or professional life. But now let's get good and bad. So we're not gonna say that stress isn't a good thing, right? Actually, moderate amount of stress is a good thing, and we found this in the research that we did when I was at TTI creating the assessment. Is that we found that a moderate amount of stress can actually help push you. It can help push you through the finish line. It can help you with some of these areas here, with meeting your daily challenges. Getting off your butt and taking care of the things you need to take care of. It can motivate you to meet goals. So a healthy dose of stress can actually motivate you, can bring excitement into your life. So there can be some positive aspects of stress, but it's almost like a pendulum. It's like, how much stress can you handle? And if you tip over, it can start to lead to bad stress. And I say start, it can start. Doesn't mean it always will, but it can start lead to bad stress. So what does bad stress look like? Well, typically occurs when the good stress lasts too long and when it gets more and more and more. So you're building upon itself. So when stress lasts too long, this can become bad stress. It can become chronic stress. And again, we're saying it can become. If you're able to take care of it before it gets to this level, great for you, but it can become chronic stress. It can impact every system in your body, meaning the way that, can you hold a conversation? Can you think clearly? Can you exercise? It can really impact all the systems in your body if you don't take care of it. It can be debilitating. And then ultimately it can have lasting effects if you don't take care of it. So we want to make sure we're taking care of it. So we're trying to identify what's causing our stress, and then what can we do to build some strategies in our life to take care of this stress. All right, let's talk about some symptoms. So what you see here is actually a page, it's a snippet right out of our stress assessment report. And this is a sample, of course, and there's 4 different areas you're going to see. And these areas are all looking at symptoms. So you'll see some scores, which we'll go into that in the training in January. But for now, I want to show you what we're going to unpack here. So physical symptoms, energy, aches and pains, getting sick. If your score is really high there, this is going to be an indicator of symptom that you do have stress and you got to figure it out. So physical ones are easy to point out. Emotional stress. You might need some good self-awareness or other people to give you feedback on this one. So being irritable, kind of snapping quickly, making or feeling overwhelmed, or just moodiness, just kind of mood swings up and down. So these symptoms can be good indicators of stress. As can cognitive stress symptoms. You may recognize these ones where it's difficult for you to concentrate, to think clearly, to focus on the task at hand. You might realize that you're forgetting things. You can't make good decisions, and maybe you're wondering, why did I make that decision? I wouldn't normally make that decision. Well, your stress might be creeping up more than you really think. And the last one, behavioral. So eating or sleeping issues. You're waking up multiple times in the night and you can't get a good night's sleep, and that's then going to, of course, going to lead to low energy, which then all of this stuff will start to trickle. It's a compounding effect. Procrastination, so putting off things, and nervous habits, right? So these are just some of the symptoms. And these are also symptoms you can look for in your team members. So if you haven't given them assessment just yet, you can kind of look for some of these symptoms, and these will be some good indicators of stress. But of course, you get the free bonus of the assessments. You'll be able to see exactly what it is for your team members. All right, so those are some symptoms. Now, I want to ask you, what are some symptoms you might be seeing? Either you're experiencing personally or you're seeing from your team members. So I'm going to launch another poll, and it's all about these symptoms. So let me go back here. Let's see, what type of symptoms? Here we go. I'm launching a poll question right now. You should see it. There we go. Type which symptoms you've observed in yourself or your team. So should have an open text box there. So the things we just mentioned, like irritability, can't sleep, can't think clearly. It's difficult to process information, low energy. So go ahead and type some of those symptoms. And I see some of you guys are typing. I think it probably lets you type up to 50 words, 100 words, I recall. So good. I see a few of you have done it. I'll give you another 30 seconds or so, get those in. As you're doing that, I'll share the ones that I recognize the most, my own symptoms. It's sleep. I can't sleep well. So I really treat sleep as a priority, at least these days. I didn't always. I can't sleep well. And then I can't think clearly. And I mean, for my job, I think for most of our jobs, we need to be able to think clearly. I'm often in front of people just like this, but I'm often live in a session with 20, 30, 40 people. I need to be sharp. And I realize that when I'm not, stress is creeping up. All right. Looks like some of you do give some feedback. Let's share some of these results here. Is it gonna show? Whoa, what just happened? Okay, here we are. Sorry, I actually don't know if you can see those. It says that they're being shared. Can you see those responses? Sorry about this. Okay. Well, I'll read some off just in case you can or cannot. Okay, you just see your own. Let me go ahead and read some of these off. They do have the names next to them, so I think that's why it's not shown to you. Struggling at being positive or having high morale, emotional, can't think clearly, low energy, poor performance, unable to sleep, low energy, a loss of sleep, loss of concentration, little sleep, little sleep. Okay, so a lot of sleep, right? Little sleep, can't focus. All right, thank you for sharing that input. Now, so a lot of sleep on there and inability to focus, and also some underperformance. All right, so these are real things that we can see. Right, so you can see it in yourself, but also in your team members. So let's keep going. And I want to do something a little bit different here. And I want to talk about something that all of us can get access to if you wish to do so. And a quick little story. About a year and a half ago, Amber and I, we were looking at, well, what can we do to just focus even more on our health? You know, we're pretty active. We like to exercise and eat well, but we wanted some kind of data, and we knew about this company called Whoop. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. It's a wearable, but it's a very advanced wearable. So it's not just like your Apple Watch or your Fitbit. In fact, it's something that you wear 24/7, and it can give you some crazy data. And in fact, I have a little kind of snippet here. So here are a few things that this does. And the reason I'm sharing this is because we have personally made life changes. We've changed our habits based on the feedback that the app is providing to us. So here's how this works. You wear this thing on your wrist 24/7. You don't even have to take it off. In fact, this little thing I have in my hand is the charger. So you plug this into your cord to charge it, and then you just put this on here about once every 3 or 4 days for like 2 hours, and it charges. So I'll put that off for now. And then what this is doing is it's keeping track of your vitals, is keeping track of it. You see the 4 core areas here: recovery, strain, stress, and sleep. And it does this at any given time, real time. You can pull your app up and see where you're at for the day. You can then go back for weeks or months, of course, and you can use this to make better decisions about what you're doing with your life, such as how much sleep are you getting, how much stress are you inducing, how hard are you working out, how well are you recovering, what's your hydration like. There's just so much that it does, and we're big fans of it. So wanted to share it with you. It's called Whoop, WHOOP. And here they do, and another cool thing is they do a ton of studies, and I want to share 3 things with you that Whoop shared. The first one is, according to Whoop, 14% of people's sleep habits prepare them for superior performance. 14% of us adults get enough sleep and good enough sleep to prepare us for superior performance. And going back to the poll I just did, almost every person on there said sleep. So I gotta say it's true. Another one, this is nothing new. We all know this, but 45 minutes to an hour, 3 to 4 days a week is going to help you. But how about the second part of this? It can boost your energy, your focus, and productivity by 30%. 30%, that's crazy. So think about yourself. Do you already have these habits? Then how about team members? Do you have some kind of program in the organization where you're incentivizing or at least encouraging people to be active? Because it really can help, actually help the bottom line. And then nutrition, proper hydration and a balanced diet of non-processed foods will drastically improve your energy, sleep, emotional clarity. Quick little shot out, because I do know I did see somebody from Corbin's on here. I think it's Craig from Corbin's. And Corbin's, we know that they've invested heavily in the health and nutrition of their people. In fact, they built an entire facility just for exercising, and they had nutrition coaches and whatnot. So they're taking this seriously. And I would have to assume you're seeing on the bottom line as well, because as your team members are healthier, more energy, they're able to take on more challenges. So good on you guys. And I'm sure there's plenty others on here as well. I just happen to see their name. All right, first month free. If you're interested in this, you want to learn more, go to their website. It's simple, whoop.com. Or you can use this QR code. You get a month free just by using that, right? So go ahead and scan right there. I'll leave it up there. You may have to purchase just the strap, but then you get a month for free to try it out. So there that is. I'm going to go ahead and advance. If you didn't get this part, don't worry. You can just let us know and we'll get it over to you. All right, so now let's go into the stress relieving strategies. We've talked about some what stress looks like, what some symptoms are, but now how can we take care of some of these? There's plenty of things you can do. This is a simple list of 20 practical stress relieving strategies. You can make a list of 100, right? It's never ending. So I just want to show you what some of mine are that I've implemented almost religiously. Like I said, they are a habit of mine. At least weekly, I'm doing all of these. So the number 2, meditation. I use an app called Headspace. There's definitely others out there. 5 to 10 minutes, a few days a week. I'll pull the app out and it guides you through meditation. I've been doing that for a couple of years. Really helps me with my focus. Physical activity, 4 to 5 days a week is my go-to, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but definitely staying active. Sleep. This was not one of mine until the last year or so when I started using Whoop religiously. So sleep is a big one for me. I will change my nightly routine to make sure I get enough sleep for the next day, and it has huge impact. Eating healthy, that's one we all know. Reading, I like to lose myself in a book every now and then regular breaks. That's one that I practiced for several years. Is throughout the workday, I will get up, go around, go for a walk. There's been studies done. It's called the 25-5 principle. So 25 minutes of intense focus and work, 5 minutes of getting up and stretching and walking around. It allows you to reset. So plenty of easy things you can do. If you like this, if you want to see more, this actually as a document, we can give that to you, share it with your team, because we want your team to be practicing some of these. And every single thing on here is practical that you can do almost any given day, right? So, and that was our goal with this list, is practical things we can do almost any given day. So my question for you is going to be, what are you going to start doing or continue doing to relieve your stress? All right, so what are you going to start doing or continue doing to relieve your stress? And that's going to bring us to poll question number 3. So poll question number 3, I'm going to go ahead and launch this for you. I would love to see some input. So what strategies will you start or continue to practice to reduce your stress? And you just saw a list of 20, and there can be plenty other things that we put on there. And after this, we'll start to go into the bonus a little bit more and share some more info on that for you. Good. I see a few of you responding. I'll let that go for another 30 seconds or so, and then I'll read over some of those answers. Good. Good. So half of you, another 15, 20 seconds. And those of you that are in Arizona, man, this is the perfect time of year, right? Our favorite time. You can get outside, get some of that vitamin D, get some of that sunlight. Speaking of vitamin D, just random thought, the Huberman Lab, the Huberman podcast talks about stress quite a bit, talks about, how to have the right mindset, good energy. If you haven't checked him out, check out the Huberman podcast. Super, super good. All right, I'm going to share your results here, and I'm going to view the details. And I'm going to read through some of these. Prepare routine for better sleep. I love it. That's a great one. Short intermittent breaks with breathing exercises, healthier food options, self-care, more working out, better food, work out regularly. Yep. Sleep by the Whoop. Yep. Do it. More leisure, more laughter. I like that one too. Yoga, exercise better, exercise 5+ days a week. Put the phone down. Oh, did you see that one? The put the phone down one is a really good one. So all of these super easy things we can implement. So thank you for each of you that participated there. Let's go back over to the webinars will start to kind of wind down. So here is what we've covered, right? So we've covered some symptoms, some sign of workplace stress. We talked about teams a little bit, how it impacts productivity. You saw some stats there. We talked about some tools and strategies, 20 practical things you can try. Now on to your free bonus for you and for your team. So so what exactly is this? It's an online assessment that you can take, and it takes you 7 to 8 minutes. So we're going to give you a link. We're going to shoot you an email. Here, I'll give you some more details here. So we're going to shoot you an email, and that email is going to have a link. And you simply click on that link any given time of day, and it's going to take you about 7 to 10 minutes to take the assessment. Right when you finish the assessment, we're going to send you a report automatically, and that report is personalized. And in that report, it's going to break down the 7 workplace factors that are in the assessment. And then it even has some sub factors. And it's pretty intuitive. So you're going to see kind of where the stress is coming from. So that's what I would advise you to do, is look at where is the stress coming from. And then there are prompting questions in each of the sections. And those prompting questions are designed to get you to think about, okay, how can I alleviate this? Do I need to change my work habits? Do I need to have a conversation with somebody? You'll see the different advice right there in the report. And then it's also going to show you what your symptom scores are. So I gave you a quick look at the symptoms page. So it's going to show you what your symptoms are. And then we're making this available to you as well as your team members. Hey, if you want to throw a friend or family in there, you can do that too, up until December 31st. And we got a sweet deal with TTI, so there literally is no limit. Normally, these are about $100 per person, but they're giving us a sweet deal so we can do a little bit of study with them. So I have a quick question for you. I'm curious how many of you are going to do this. I do think it's a great offer. So how many of you are going to do this, and how many will you do? So we're just trying to get an idea of, hey, are you going to take us up on this offer? But also, are you going to have some team members do it? So if you look at the screen, it says approximately how many free assessments do you intend to use before the end of the year? A handful, 1 to 5. Do you think it'll be a little more than that? 6 to 10, 11 to 25, 26 to 50, or more than 50? Again, and you're able to use as many as you wish, at least as long as we get it in by the end of the year, is what we've been promised. So that's what we're going to do. Cool. All right. So I'm happy with what you guys are saying there. So we all start to wind down. It is already our time. I always try to stick to our time so you guys get back to your day. So thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you got some good stuff out of this. You will be receiving an email from us shortly, those of you that are here live today, and you'll be able to take that assessment, get that report right away. And then you're going to receive another email from us with the day that we're going to do the training in January. And we look forward to having you on that training. In the meantime, I'll start to wind down. If there are any additional questions I haven't gotten to, please toss them on the Q&A poll here, and I'll start answering these questions. Those that don't have any questions, thank you for joining today, and hope you have a good rest of your week. All right, take care. Dean, you are very welcome. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Teresa, the specific question about the scoring on the report. Do you believe anything 0 to 40 is worth looking into? Yeah, potentially. Usually like 30 to 40 is where I'll start to at least ask some more questions, but it's all relative to what the rest of the report looks like. So if their highest score is like 30 to 40, I want to have a conversation around that, because if it's their highest area. But if they have other areas in the report that are higher than that, I would want to start there. But ultimately, even if somebody has super low scores throughout the entire report, I still want to try to dig a little bit deeper. And I'm going to ask some questions around the highest ones in the report. Yeah, I definitely want to see if I can unpack that. You're welcome.